Right. Hi, everybody. If you've not met me, I'm Adam Gordon from the Candidate.ID team. I'm here with my friend Caitlin Connors from the Field Innovation team. Caitlin's been working with us to help our teams to sell Candidate.ID over the last 6 months. And Caitlin, thank you for that. I've got some questions for you about your experience so far.
Okay.
The first question is, um, what are customers that you've been talking to most excited about? Are there any particular trends and things that they're really finding intriguing about buying Candidate.ID?
Yes, first and foremost, when I tell them that this system can automatically qualify all old data that they've spent money on, or dead data, which like Wake the Dead campaigns for people who've been sitting in an ATS, they absolutely get excited because it's not something a human would have the time to go through all of that. That absolutely excites them. The fact that it connects to 200 plus job boards is something I bring up at the end of the demo as an icing on the cake. They're always excited about that because they're not expecting it. They're not expecting that source feature as well. And then my favorite and their favorite always is the fact that it can alert a recruiter. So they come into a demo going, okay, I'm on an automation demo, thinking we're gonna do time delayed emails. So when I say not only can you do hyper personalized content, but it can alert a recruiter of a qualified candidate, they've never seen anything like it.
Right. So, for example, the candidates come onto the career site, they've gone to a job description, but they didn't yet apply for the job. And then the following day, the recruiter gets a notification to tell them that that person's just done that meaningful thing,
Mhm. Exactly.
or their points have spiked. They've all of a sudden 20 additional points over the last few days, and that suggests that the recruiter should pick up the phone to that person.
Yeah, or my favorite is the system has nurtured them with content around exactly what they're looking for, like relocation of boomerang without a human doing it. And all of a sudden they're hire ready, requalified, their zip codes updated, their skills have been updated. And now we're alerting a recruiter, and the recruiter just thinks they're great at their job. They have no idea why they're getting more hires per recruiter head.
Yeah. Caitlin mentioned the term waking the dead there, which we kind of put that on pause during the pandemic because it wasn't very tasteful, but it's come back again. And in case you're
They
not
love it.
familiar with what it means, typically a company is going to have 100,000 candidates on their ATS that they've maybe not, people they've not spoken to for a while, and they want to really uh, wake up that dead data, really refresh those individuals. And they're using Candidate.ID typically to do that as maybe the first campaign that they do. Um, so, what about challenges? Because, I mean, I certainly know some of the challenges that we faced in selling Candidate.ID, but what have you come across?
This is easy because they're often the same. And it usually is if someone has a CRM, they automatically wrap their head around, wait, so there's two workflows happening. There's two places we need to be, two email drip campaigns. And I can easily speak to that, but that's always, I can see their head go there immediately. And the second one I would say is not enough resources, or usually on demos, I'm talking to people who are on a very small team who are or have lost people. So they go, oh my gosh, how are we gonna learn and set up a new tool?
Right. Okay. So, on the first one, I think my response would be if if they have a CRM and they're buying Candidate.ID as well, they're probably going to be doing their campaigns in Candidate.ID. They're just going to switch to Candidate.ID from the CRM. And the reason for that is because of the ability to track and score all the link clicks and create all the automated workflows so that the candidates get a really good next best step experience.
Mm.
But in terms of where they're working, if it's a medium or large size team, you're not going to have all the recruiters living in Candidate.ID. They'll continue to live within the CRM.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll get all of their leads coming in by email, probably. And then you'd have specific people whose job it is to do all the kind of campaign management and all that kind of thing. So the customers typically got like talent sourcing teams or recruitment marketing teams who would be the ones that are living within Candidate.ID, or are you finding that actually it is all recruiters who are going to be in there? What's the typical use case?
No, typically it's yeah, TA leaders or GMs, or with franchisees, it's like a manager. And then usually at the end of the demo, we understand everyone will be working in the CRM, including the recruiters. A lot of times a client won't even tell recruiters they've invested in the system. It's something that only the higher people up are doing, especially marketers, setting things up in the background for the recruiters to be more efficient.
Yeah. And then the other one being around like what resources and who does the different tasks. So
Yeah.
one anecdote I have about this is it's a UK-based organization called Specsavers. It's an international optometry retail organization. They're in Canada, they're in Australia and various other countries, and they started with Candidate ID. They had 24 recruiters in the UK. They very quickly moved four of those individuals into becoming like nurture marketers. And so without adding anybody to the headcount, by the end of the year, they were able to fill 50% more jobs because the 20 remaining recruiters were spending far less time cold contacting people because they were getting those hot leads coming into their inbox. Are there other responses that you give to a company that's not entirely sure how to kind of get going?
Yeah, I explained the whole implementation process, which includes a lot of us being able to help them, all of the training documents, the how-tos, the videos we make the training calls that we have for them. And then you know what I say, Adam? Actually, there's a feature in Candidate ID that's a clone feature. And on the demos, I always show how easy it would be to implement, even in a year from investing in the product. Anything we do, we can clone emails, landing pages, automation campaigns. All you have to do is click a button to clone them and then change out one or two logos, which is great for college recruiting, and it's great for multi-brand companies. Change out the text message content. So I always show the clone feature in terms of, hey, you set this up once. You spend a little bit of time, a couple days on setting it up correctly, and then you won't really have to do anything again 6 to 12 months later when you need to add a campaign or just change out a video.
Yeah, great. Okay. Last question is about are there any particular characteristics of companies that have been most excited? Are they in specific industries, or have they got particular types of hiring requirements, or is it right across the board?
Well, I can tell you healthcare loves it for nursing because that's a perfect example of anyone who would love it, who loses people at the same rate they hire people, which happens to be healthcare. And sometimes it's now the fast food or restaurant industry. But beyond industry, it's people who are on a demo with me who go, our team is so small. We are so overwhelmed. Whether or not they've lost someone, it's just everyone's overwhelmed. They can't, there's usually one person on the demo doing 8 things. They always love this. It really resonates with them. Anyone who's actually has their hands dirty using a MailChimp or using a CRM, they know the downfalls. So I don't even have to tell them. So they often come to the demo going, here, I already know the headaches and this is great, as opposed to me having to explain. Those work really well. And the third one is someone I met at HR Tech. He actually came and said, listen, I need to get rid of all of my third-party contracts. I cannot take the fact that we're using 7 different systems or companies to do what Candidate ID does. They had a contract for texting. They had a contract for qualifying. They had a contract for sourcing. They had a contract for all these things. When I showed him Candidate ID, he said, great. What I need to do, what my boss will love, is getting rid of all of this and just checking off the box and using one company. So
great, absolutely. I like all of those things. The one in particular I love most is the company that's got a small team and they're being asked to do more with less constantly. They're getting more and more recs to fill. So for that type of organization, this can really help them to scale without hiring additional people, because they can really reduce the amount of cold sourcing time they have to put into finding people, reaching out to them, and also responding to people, because you can set up so many automated workflows where people are getting great experiences that you've set up once and then you just let it run.
oh yeah. What we've seen so far, and you've definitely seen this, is as a proxy for the solution, companies that were using this, yes, they increased their candidate flow for hard to fill positions and geographies. But I love this technology because it's one of the only technologies I can demo that's able to save on anyone's runaway cost that happens with recruitment ads, job ads, programmatic media, and all of that stuff. And it's very, very hard to have a strategy that can curtail that media spend. And this is one of the only technologies that can do that, which is why we're so excited to be part of the company.
That's why we created it. When the world's biggest pharmaceutical company told me that it was the fourth time that they paid to actually get that person in front of them, that they hired them. I thought,
Mm.
wow, you've got like millions of people on your candidate database, and you're still spending money on sourcing companies and on advertising and on third party agencies. And they're just telling you who's interested in you today, but those people are already on your database, most of them.
Also,
So,
Adam, you know what? If I owned a company, I would not want to do what every other company does. I'm not going to get any candidate if I'm going to the same market. And if everyone's using Indeed, what new candidates am I getting? But no one, has this like creative strategies. That's how you're going to get ahead of your competitors, especially with shortlisting faster. By the way, Indeed takes a lot of money for contracts, for sponsored job ads. You could pay for a sponsored job ad. You're going to be on page 12 because
yeah.
who bid more? It's a bidding system, just like Google Ads. So I really am upset at the integrity of what people are doing to my clients.
That's very, very noble of you, by the way. And I am too, especially if it makes them want to buy Candidate ID. But you're absolutely right. The most unique media that any employer has is that nurture program with their own, audience that they've already spent money on generating, and just really keeping on like nurturing them, tracking and scoring all the link clicks, setting up all the automations for the optimum candidate experience, and enjoying life in the sunshine.
Yep, I always say this works in the background while you sleep. You wake up, your life should be easier. Your recruiters are happier. They think they're better. They don't know why. And don't forget hyper personalized content, Adam. I've worked at other companies that say they do it. They do not. This system, depending on what someone clicks, will then get all of the content based on this person went to a relocation page. This person looked at a military video, and now they get all of that content. Other recruitment agencies and companies are claiming they do this. They do not.
Hmm. When should somebody be reaching out to you and involving you in their customers and with possible deals and things?
As soon as they talk to them and find out that they have any of those issues we just talked about. They have a small team. They need to lower their cost per hire. They're having a hard time with the economy. I don't know who's not having a hard time with their economy. Any of that, even if they don't know about Candidate ID or they have heard about it, bring me in as soon as possible.
Good stuff. Caitlin, thanks very much for spending some time with me today to talk about this. Any questions that anybody's got, reach out to Caitlin and or me.
Thanks.